Right now at 10, a Madison jewelry store robbed over the weekend. Why the owner says the shop's future may be in jeopardy. And Wisconsin's Supreme Court race is less than 24 hours from being over. We'll hear from both candidates as they make their final push in Dane County. Plus, recession concerns rise. The steps Wisconsinites can take to make sure their bank account works for them. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Maddie Heimsch. Eric Franke and Sarah Carlson are off tonight. The First Warn Weather Team is forecasting alert day conditions over the coming days. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us from the weather patio with more. Alex.
Maddie, at this point tomorrow night, heavy rain, maybe mixed in with some heavy wet snow, briefly reducing visibilities and maybe causing a little bit of travel impact, especially north of Madison, then transitions over. We flip from that winter side to the spring side with a warm front. That strong to severe thunderstorm activity that's expected across all of southern Wisconsin very late Tuesday night as warmer air moves in, lasting into Wednesday. Let's break this down here because there's quite a bit to talk about. Alert day part 1. This is tomorrow night. Rain, wet, snow, and wind first. The thunderstorms will be rumbling in by the time we get to about 4 to 6 a.m. on Wednesday. Then through the rest of Wednesday afternoon, storms with a hail and a strong wind risk are the primary risks from those storms on Wednesday. If enough warm air is able to make it into southern Wisconsin, we can't rule out a couple of isolated tornadoes. Hopefully that is not the case whatsoever, but I'll break that down a little bit further, those variables, in just a few moments with Future Track. Temperatures before alert day conditions get going will be in the 40s to near 50 with that wind picking up, clouds on the increase, and again in Maine weather we use Future Track to take you through this entire alert day event.
Alex, thank you. A burglary at a jewelry shop on Madison's west side has left the business owner uncertain of her shop's future. The store should have opened this morning, but after a break-in over the weekend, they say they need time to rebuild. The shop's owner says while the business was closed Sunday, someone cut a hole into the back wall of the building with a chainsaw. They stole several high-end pieces of jewelry only from the back. While customers are the shop's top priority, the owner's daughter says she isn't sure what comes after this.
She's worked really hard for this. We as a family, we don't wish bad on whoever did this. We have a lot of faith in God and we're very sure that we'll get up from this because it was definitely a really hard hit.
The case was assigned to Madison Police Department's Burglary Crimes Unit. The owner is still working with investigators to identify and price everything that was stolen. We now know the name of the man who was stabbed to death on Madison's west side over the weekend. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office has identified him as Nicholas Velasquez. Velasquez was found dead on North Midvale Boulevard on Saturday. The cause and manner of his death still pending. A 17-year-old is facing reckless homicide charges in connection to the stabbing. Velasquez's death remains under investigation by Madison police. And a man is in jail this afternoon after allegedly threatening someone with a knife on UW campus. Overnight, UW PD sent out an alert to students telling them to avoid the area of East Campus Mall. Police say a man with a knife approached someone and verbally threatened them. No one got hurt, and police released an update this morning saying the man is facing a charge of disorderly conduct with a dangerous weapon. He has no affiliation with UW. The Oregon Police Department is getting creative with the new recruitment video and saving money in the process. Complete with a voiceover from Chief Pagankoff, beauty shots of the village, and what recruits of the police force may see if they get the job. A sergeant with the department put it all together free of any outside charge. The chief says it's gotten good reception so far and has helped in their effort to keep the department's budget under control.
Not only did it save us a lot of money, because we're really trying to be careful with where we're spending money right now, but the outcome of the recruitment video has been great. It's actually showing who we are because it was created by someone who's been very successful within our department.
If they went through an outside firm, the cost for something similar would range anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000. The Village of Oregon will have an operational referendum tomorrow. If passed, would allow for the hiring of 3 additional officers. While tomorrow is Election Day here in Wisconsin, capping off a race that has drawn national attention to the Badger State. As both state Supreme Court candidates make their final case to voters before polls open, political reporter Will Keneally followed along with them on the campaign trail.
That brought both candidates right here to Dane County, with Liberal candidate Susan Crawford holding a rally here at the Majestic Theater in downtown Madison.
And I live in Madison, so it makes sense for me to, cap off the campaign here.
But even if this wasn't home for Dane County Judge Susan Crawford, it would still be important for her to campaign here.
We need to get the vote out. We need to get it out in Dane County, but we need to get it out all over the state.
In the last state Supreme Court race in 2023, Dane County accounted for more liberal votes in that race than even Milwaukee did. That's also a fair comparison across the aisle as well.
You guys are outnumbered here, more than anywhere else in the state, but you are the fiercest.
Conservative candidate in the race, Brad Schimmel, met with Dane County GOP volunteers this morning. In the last election, Dane County was the third largest vote total for the conservative in that race. And while Democrats may focus their get-out-the-vote efforts in Dane County cities, Republicans can still pull significant votes from the Dane County suburbs.
I believe that we're getting the energy and we're getting people motivated. That's what I've been trying to do this whole way.
Now, this comes as both campaigns are out knocking some final doors in the waning hours of this spring election. Reporting in Madison, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
The polls tomorrow will be open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. Make sure to bring your photo ID with you when you go to vote and return your absentee ballot by the time polls close tomorrow night. The state Supreme Court race is supposed to be nonpartisan, but Wisconsin's Republican and Democratic parties have been receiving millions of dollars in support for the candidates. Ahead of the election, we sat down with both state party leaders to hear whether they think this is how elections should be run in the state.
Absolutely not. It is core to the Democratic Party of Wisconsin's platform, to the beliefs of most Wisconsinites, regardless of party, that we should have campaign finance reform. We should try to get big money out of politics.
The liberals in this state have been taking tens of millions of dollars for years to fund state Supreme Court races. They're upset now because the other side is catching up. It's that simple.
The parties and candidates have broken the record for most expensive judicial race in the country. Today, the Supreme Court heard arguments over whether states may tax Catholic charities and religiously affiliated groups. The case concerns unemployment taxes, and some critics say it could put more than 1 million U.S. workers at risk of losing benefits. Churches are exempt from most taxes, but the court will have to decide if groups affiliated with religious organizations are afforded that same accommodation. And with Easter just weeks away, consumers are hunting for lower egg prices. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the wholesale price for white large eggs fell 26 cents to $3 per dozen last week, but prices at the grocery store are nearly double. Some experts say grocery stores have kept prices high to recoup lost profits, which is why shoppers are shelling out for more eggs.
We have experienced devastating losses as a result of this disease. It takes months and months to get back to being able to produce eggs again.
There is some good news. Prices have consistently come down each week with fewer avian flu cases and the demand for eggs dropping. Goldman Sachs says the U.S. economy is facing a growing risk of a recession. The Wall Street Bank warning clients it now sees a 35% chance of a recession in the next 12 months. That's up from 20% previously. Goldman Sachs also anticipates higher inflation and more unemployment, but the bank still expects the U.S. economy to avoid a downturn. As America's economy faces growing uncertainty, are your bank accounts doing all they can for you? According to a Bankrate survey, on average, Americans have held onto the same checking account for 19 years and the same savings account for 17. Convenience is the reason many give for staying. Bankrate experts say it's fine to stick with banks like Chase or Wells Fargo for your checking account, but it doesn't hurt to shop around for your savings.
Checking accounts usually yield next to nothing. Savings accounts, on the other hand, some of the good ones are upwards of 4%.
Over time, rates like that will add up, with every $10,000 in the account netting you $400 a year in interest. A popular Wisconsin tourist attraction is open for the season. The Merrimack Ferry is now open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The boat works to carry traffic across the Wisconsin River between Okie in Columbia County and Merrimack in Sauk County, with a single crossing taking around 7 minutes.
So it's very nice, very relaxing.
No, I'm from Madison. I come up here just to ride the ferry.
It's fun for the kids to do and to go to the different ice cream shops that are around and just to ride it and get to see the lake and all the scenery.
The ferry is free and will run until November. It does close from 9 to 10 a.m. on Wednesdays for refueling. When we come back at 10, a judge hears arguments from a Hollywood icon's estate, and stock markets around the world tumble. The latest announcement from the president about a new round of tariffs for the U.S. trading partners.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
A New Mexico judge blocked the release of certain videos and photos related to the death of actor Gene Hackman and his wife. The partially mummified remains of Hackman and his wife, 65-year-old Betsy Arakawa, were found in their New Mexico home nearly 2 weeks after their deaths in late February. Attorneys for the Hackman estate say access to information about the couple's final days and death should be permanently sealed from the media and public to protect the family's privacy. The 95-year-old actor's longtime publicist testified that Hackman took great measures to protect his name, image, and likeness while he was alive.
For anything like that to be out in the public, any entity can use it however they want, in perpetuity. And that's not something he would have never agreed in his life for that to happen. So why would we think he would agree to it in his death?
Lawyers for the Associated Press and CBS argued Hackman's right to privacy ended with his death, and that the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department is obligated to release the records to comply with state law. In the judge's ruling, any images of the deceased couple's bodies must be blurred prior to disclosure by state authorities. It was a volatile day for stock markets around the world as President Trump announced no trading partner will be spared from a new round of tariffs coming this week. The president says they're needed to help American companies, but consumers worry they'll pay the price. Jared Hill reports.
From the Oval Office late Monday, President Trump defended his plan to roll out new reciprocal tariffs on all U.S. trading partners.
Relatively speaking, we're going to be very kind. The numbers will be lower than what they've been charging us.
He plans to announce the details Wednesday and has named it Liberation Day, saying he's confident the tariffs will bring more manufacturing back to the U.S. Investors appear less confident. Stock markets around the world seesawed Monday, closing out the worst quarter of the S&P 500 since 2022. Economic forecasters predict the tariffs will hike inflation and unemployment and slow growth. Among U.S. consumers, a new CBS News poll finds 72% think Trump's tariffs will raise prices in the short term. 47% think those high prices will stick around. Would-be new car buyers are flocking to sales lots hoping to avoid even more sticker shock. Experts warn the tariffs could increase the price of new cars by $5,000 to $10,000.
I voted for Trump. I trust him in some regards, but it's just the uncertainty of what's going to happen.
And the Trump administration deported 17 more men into a notorious prison in El Salvador Sunday. Administration officials described them as violent gang members who had final orders of removal. Earlier this month, the administration deported more than 200 Venezuelan migrants to the same prison using the Wartime Alien Enemies Act. A judge has barred the Trump administration from using that act. Now the administration says it's using a different authority. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Alert day conditions are on the horizon for southern Wisconsin. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us now with what we can expect over the coming days.
Maddie, it starts with rain and wet snow and then transitioning over to strong to severe thunderstorm chances late Tuesday night going into Wednesday. A lot to uncover with this weather system. The main severe weather threats are going to be hail and strong winds, but we're going to keep an eye on this tornado threat. Let me explain. First, let's talk about the overall risks. We have a 1 out of 5 risk to the north and west of the Dells, a 2 out of 5 in Madison, a 3 out of 5. This is nothing to shy about, especially early in a severe weather season. There could be a severe weather outbreak in parts of the area, and especially for areas south of southern Wisconsin. But I'll explain some of the variables that bring that threat up or down. First, we start off with wet snow mixed in with that rain, windy conditions by 5 o'clock Tuesday. That wet snow quickly goes to the north by the time we get to 10 p.m. That's up towards Camp Douglas, Marquette, and Green Lake counties. Any slush accumulations we get, it's going to melt away or wash away with the continuation of all the rain. And then here come the thunderstorms. Wednesday morning, 6 o'clock, stretching from Platteville all the way over to Monroe, Janesville to just south of Watertown. We will have these scattered storms. These could have hail in them, frequent lightning as well, and of course, very heavy rainfall. That will likely impact that morning commute. Then here's the part that is complex. If you take a peek here at noon, look at our winds coming out of the south for areas from Madison and points to the west. We call this the warm air sector. This is where the warm and humid air meet the cold front and the weather system coming in from the west. If this moves this far to the north, that brings that severe weather risk into southern Wisconsin, and this is what you don't want to have happen. You want to have cool breezes off of Lake Michigan to help keep that to the south. The other factor as we go into the early afternoon hours as more scattered storms develop, if we get breaks, so for example, look at Madison dry at 4 o'clock. If we get breaks in the showers and storms, that allows the atmosphere to rev back up again for more scattered thunderstorms. So the more persistent the clouds and the showers and storms are, that should hopefully help to limit the severe weather threat as well on Wednesday. But we'll be most certainly keeping an eye on this. Savannah will have an update in the morning, Blaze at noon tomorrow, and then I'll have an update tomorrow night as well. There's also a silver lining here. This is out of here by 7 o'clock on Wednesday. So the window for severe weather is very narrow, very small on Wednesday, or I should say very short. Maybe a slushy inch up towards the Dells. Again, that will just wash away with 1, maybe an inch and a half of water with all the widespread showers and storms on Wednesday. And again, we're keeping an eye on that warm air sector. If we get into the 60s, that is your heads up that the conditions may be priming for more severe weather on Wednesday. Again, the latest tomorrow morning with Savannah and then Blaze and then myself tomorrow night. Recap, Tuesday night, that wet snow changes over to rain, thunderstorms late, thunderstorms on Wednesday, strong winds and hail are the main risk, and then nice after alert day conditions cease later on Wednesday. Stick around, we'll be right back.
After giving up 36 runs in 3 games and being swept by the Bronx Bombers, the Brewers desperately needed to come back home to the friendly confines of AmFam Field for some home cooking. The only problem, their pitching staff isn't too healthy. 8 guys are injured, which is why Pat Murphy gave Elvin Rodriguez the starting nod for the home opener. And Rodriguez's 27th birthday got off to a rocky start. First inning, crew already down 1-0. Hunter Renfroe drops one into left to bring in 2 more. The Royals jumped out to a 3-run lead after 1. And they'd add to it in the next inning. The solo shot makes it 4-0. Rodriguez lasted 4 innings. He gave up 4 runs on 6 hits and only struck out 3 batters. And the Brewers' bats couldn't do much either, mustering up just 6 hits while striking out 11 times. The Brewers fall in their home opener, 11-1, the final. Now, this is only the 6th time in franchise history that the Brewers are starting the season 0-4. We bring in Andrew Banstra. Kind of the only good part about this game was the sausage race where the hot dog won, right? Like, we watched this. There was not a lot of good happening for the Brewers.
That is one way to put it. Zach, it was a brutal start to the season for the Brewers. Last season, they were the only team in the majors to never lose 4 straight games. This year, they start on the 4-game skid, giving up an unforgivable and MLB record 47 runs over their first 4. The team tells me this is unacceptable, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're worried.
I mean, worry's a waste of time. We just got to get busy. We got great people in that room, and I believe in that room. I believe in this team. You guys can laugh at me if you want, but I believe in this team, and I believe that they'll learn from this.
It's a long season. You know, we're 4 games in. There's a lot of games left to play, so we just got to move on.
I mean, it's just 4 games, but we got to do better. You know, it's unacceptable to do that, you know, over the course of 4 games. There's different kinds of losses, but, you know, we have to be better than that.
William Contreras told us that he is a player that likes to win. So this is about as tough of a start as you could imagine. But the beautiful thing about baseball is there is always tomorrow. With Zach Hanley, I'm Andrew Banstra, signing off from opening day at American Family Field for News 3 Sports.